Hello and welcome back to the March 12th edition of Huskies Weekend Recap. I'm your host, Alexis Pearson. I hope everyone had a great spring break, or should I say we got more snow break. I think spring is coming soon, but don't quote me on that. But snow or no snow, your Huskies are still out here shining, and a couple teams had outstanding weeks last week. So in case you weren't keeping up with Huskies athletics over spring break, let me be the first to tell you that the wrestling team is still really good. So good, in fact, that they just claimed their 4th national title in the past 5 years. I know you want all the details, so don't worry, I've got you covered. To catch up on how they claimed their latest title, make sure you check out my full-length recap on YouTube. The men's hockey team also dominated this weekend, setting some records in the process. They closed out their regular season at home against the University of Minnesota Duluth. Friday would see 4 goals in the first period, 2 for each team, with Patrick Newell and Micah Miller getting the tallies for the Huskies. Nick Perbix would add a power play goal in the third to get the Huskies the lead, but 5 minutes later, the Bulldogs would tie it up. All tied up after 3 periods means free hockey, as the Huskies would look to get their second win of the season against the Bulldogs. Nick Perbix would find the back of the net at 3:16 of overtime to tally the game winner and his second of the game. Huskies win it 4-3. Saturday was senior night for the Huskies, as many Huskies were honored for their time with the team, including guys like netminder Jeff Smith, Clark Custer, John Lazat, Patrick Newell, Jacob Benson, Captain Jimmy Schultz, Robbie Jackson, and David Zevnik. A win in this game would also mark an undefeated season at home. The Bulldogs would try to rain on their parade, however, jumping to a 2-0 lead. But by the end of the second, the Huskies would tie it up with goals from Nolan Walker and Easton Brodzinski. Each team would tally another in the third, and it would appear that we were heading to our second overtime game of the weekend. But Sam Henches would have none of it, banging home a loose puck with under 2 minutes to go to get the Huskies the lead. The score would remain, and the Huskies would get the sweep, finishing with an undefeated record at home this season. This win would break the NCHC records for conference points with 62 and fewest conference losses with only 2, and tie the NCHC record for most conference wins with 19. They finished the season with an overall record of 26-4-3, with playoffs coming up next weekend. The men's basketball team was in playoff action this past week, first taking on Upper Iowa University. Gage Davis and Sean Smith led the way as the Huskies marched to a 91-72 win. They would then take on Wayne State, losing in a heartbreaking 1-point loss. Gage Davis would drop 47 points on the Wildcats, but it wouldn't be enough to get past Wayne State as the Huskies fall in the NSIC quarterfinal game, but they would keep their NCAA playoff berth alive as they would gain the number 4 seed and the NCAA Central Regional that starts on Saturday, March 16th. The women's basketball team was also in action. For the first game of the playoffs, they welcomed Minnesota State Mankato to Hallenbeck Hall. Madeline Dahman tallied a team leading 27 points on the night, while Mally Doucette added 14 points of her own. 6 other Huskies tallied points in their 80-63 win. Next up was Bemidji State, where 4 Huskies would finish with 10 or more points on the night. St. Cloud State would dominate, outscoring the Beavers in all 4 quarters, getting the win by a final of 85-57. They would then take on the University of Minnesota Duluth. The red and black would get off to a slow start with only 7 points in each of the first 2 quarters. Despite having a better second half, it wouldn't quite be enough. Brenna Evans and Nikki Kilbottom would each tally 10 points, but the Huskies would fall 68-50, ending their season in the NSIC semifinal game. They finished the season with a 19-10 overall record. The baseball team was in Tucson this last week for the Tucson Invitational Games. They went 7-1 on the week, including 2 wins by 10 or more runs. Some notable players on the week are pitcher Riley Ahern, who helped the Huskies to a 7-1 win against Morningside College in his first collegiate career start. Dylan Haskamp, who finished with 3 RBIs in the Huskies' 12-2 victory over the Southwest Minnesota State Mustangs, and Sheldon Mix, who tied his career high of 12 Ks in SCSU's 4-1 win over Minot. The Huskies currently sit with an overall record of 12-2. The softball team was in the beautiful state of Florida over spring break and entered their last 2 games with an 8-2 record. In 4 of their games, they would tally up 7 or more runs against their opponents' 4 wins. The tennis team was also busy over spring break, competing in several matchups in Florida as well. They suffered 3 losses on the week, but got wins in matchups against Wantana, Seton Hill University, and University of Southern Indiana. Thanks for watching.